Welcome to Nutrition Nuts, where we discuss the latest nutrition breakthroughs, supplements, and wellness choices with leaders in the natural products industry, health practitioners, and research scientists. I'm your host, Jim Wilkes, certified nutritionist. Thanks to our main sponsor, HollyHillVitamins.com, the place for great selection, service, and prices. Check out their extensive wellness library for updated science-based info. Hey, thanks everyone for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. I appreciate that. In a few minutes, we will be talking with Stacey Littlefield and mostly concentrating today on some important issues that concern women, right? Primarily stress support for women in all stages of motherhood, right? That's stressful enough. But there's some good things you can take to help with that. So it looks like it's going to be a good show, kind of women-oriented, but oriented. But I think you'll enjoy it. And you guys out there, you got some women in your lives, so that might be beneficial for you too to take a listen. And we might discuss some other things as well, so we'll see. But first, some health news you can use. Some interesting things about vitamin D. I always like to bring up vitamin D. I think it's I get reports all the time from research articles about supplements, and vitamin D always seems to come to the forefront. It's amazing. It's just constantly new things they're discovering about that. And a lot of us are not getting enough D. We're not out in the sun enough without some suntan lotion, at least for short periods of time, to really absorb it well. And it's interesting that I think it's a good idea to get your levels checked, your blood levels checked, just to see where you're at. Mine looks pretty good. I do take some D. I'm out in the sun more when the weather's out. Weather is cooperating. Get out there and sun for a little bit. So trying to get most of my body involved in that. So I think it's a good idea. But interesting couple of articles. One from Nutrients, which is a journal. This is this year's journal. Alzheimer and vitamin D, right? We're all concerned about Alzheimer's. We're seeing more of it out there. We all have family members probably that have succumbed to that. Not fun at all. And they found that vitamin D protected against developing Alzheimer's disease and other kind of forms of dementia out there, because there are a bunch of forms of it. And when doctors measured levels of vitamin D, vitamin E, and beta-carotene, they took about 1,300 people who were free from dementia at the start of the study, and it lasted about 7 years. So 1/3 had optimal vitamin D levels of at least 50 nanomoles per liter of blood, and you can get that checked when you get your blood test, or 125 nanograms, they call it. That's another way of saying 50 nanomoles, but I don't want to get you confused about that. They were less likely to have developed any form of dementia. Those who were deficient, less than 25 nanomoles, were 91% more likely to have developed any dementia and 128% more likely for Alzheimer's. So you can see how important vitamin D levels can be. Another study I found was pretty cool. This is from the Journal of Clinical Medicine. This just a few months ago. Vitamin D supplements linked to less skin cancer, right? Because earlier studies have been inconclusive, the doctors were not sure about the role of vitamin D plays in cancers of the skin. So this study included about 500 men and women. They were aged 21 to 79. 96 of them were immunosuppressed, so which means that they were probably more chances for skin cancer. So they measured the vitamin D levels and compared them with past or present melanomas and any type of skin cancer, really. So overall, those who regularly supplemented with vitamin D were less than half as likely as those who did not take vitamin D supplements to have or have had a melanoma, and less likely to have or have had any type of skin cancer. So pretty cool. They don't tell you how much you were taking, but I usually recommend 1,000 to 2,000 a day. This is basically without getting your levels checked, just to be on the safe side, especially in the darker months of the year. But I know some physicians who recommend much higher if you are deficient in vitamin D after your blood test. They might tell you to take 50,000 once per week, give you a shot or something like that. So again, vitamin D, so important to protect the skin and protect the brain. And goodness, a lot of nutrition people feel it's more hormone-like. It works like a hormone in the body than just a vitamin. But again, we don't go outside as much as our ancestors did. We lather on a lot of suntan lotion, which can be beneficial for you. You don't want to get burned out there, that's for sure. But you want to help some kind of absorption of vitamin D or take a supplement. I also take some cod liver oil, especially in the colder months there, which has naturally occurring vitamin D and vitamin A in there as well, which is sometimes hard to get. The real vitamin A, natural vitamin A. So that's a good thing. Our grandparents weren't wrong about giving it to the kids. Back then, it tasted lousy, though. Most of it was rancid, so it didn't really appeal to me or other people. So nowadays, they've solved that problem there, so you can get some good quality cod liver oil. All right, guys. Okay, let's talk to Stacey. Stacey Littlefield. Well, she began working in the natural medicine industry in 1998. She specialized in educating the professional market and sales staff for retailers out there on a lot of different key health products. She also began working with Dan Chapman, who I interviewed a couple of years ago, to launch Red Remedies, where she became the product formulator and research director. In 2016, she received a Master's of Science in Herbal Medicine from American College of Healthcare Sciences in Portland, Oregon. And here is Stacey Littlefield. Stacey Littlefield, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on. I've been looking forward to it.
Great. Great company, Red Remedies. I've had the CEO, Dan, on. You guys helped launch this company, and always appreciated his insights and things. The history of the company is pretty cool. I just want to maybe go over that a little bit. It's a fascinating story about his mom and stuff like that. And I don't know if you feel free enough to talk about that, but we're going back to the 1950s, right?
Yeah. I mean, her journey started back in the 1950s. She was, struggling with some health challenges, and she just wasn't, able to find what really worked for her. And, her dentist of all people told her that in order for her to regain balance and get back to a place of health, that she needed to change her diet, eat better foods. And that, is a rare thing to get from any kind of medical professional in the 1950s. Yeah, sure. But that's what she did. And eventually Dan's parents opened a health food store because they wanted to, share that knowledge with their community and to help other individuals who were having the same struggles.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. And people who get involved in the health food industry, a lot of times they just always have like a passionate story about. There's something in their past that made them want to seek out something, a remedy for whatever problems they were having, a natural course, so to speak. So it's great that Dan did that. But what's your journey a little bit? Why did you get involved in health?
Well, my journey, so it's, I've always had, ever since I was little, really interested in plants. I was just very interested in like what was under the ground. I have memories of just like ripping plants out of the ground so I could see their roots. Nice. My mom wasn't always appreciative of that, but that's what I did.
It's lucky you didn't work in a graveyard, I'll tell you.
Right. It's like, strawberry plants, let's rip them out of the ground. But I was, just always interested in that. And there was always, my mother is Japanese. So there was always a layer of, we need to eat these foods when we feel this way. And combined with my interest in plants, that's just kind of what started all of that for me. So I went on to get, my undergrad degree in biology. And at that time, I was planning on going to medical school, but I changed my mind. I started working for a broker in the Chicagoland area in the natural products, industry, representing different brands at the time. And I just thought, this is where I belong. This is where I can help people the most and, just affect more people's lives on this side of stuff. So I did that and got my master's degree in herbal medicine, and here I am now.
Gee. So how was doing a course in herbal medicine? Do they take you on a lot of field journeys and things?
Well, the program I did was online because at the time when I went back to school to get my master's degree, I had two very young children. They're teenagers now, but they were 6 and 3 at the time. So I did, it was online and a lot of coursework, but we did have to do a lot of field work ourselves, in our area, wherever we were. And fortunately, I live in Northwest Indiana, and I live just south of the Indiana Dunes. So the lake shore is now, a national park, and the state park is now national park. And so I was able to go on nature walks in, the state park, looking at native species of different plants, like, Jack in the pulpit is a native plant in that area of Indiana. So going out in the very early spring to see those first blooms of that plant in the woods and in the forest surrounding the dunes. So I've done a lot of, field work, identifying plants, identifying trees, and a lot of work with native species in my area.
I've never heard of that. Jack in the pulpit, he's called?
Yeah, Jack in the pulpit. So it's an old botanical that they use. They call it Jack in the pulpit because a lot of pastors and preachers would use that herb to help soothe their throats. So that their voices would be strong and clear, and they would be able to keep preaching and, spreading the word.
Awesome. That's funny. That's great. Right. So you've been around, and you've been around the industry a long time, stuff. And we did a show with Red Remedies a couple of years ago, and talked about a lot of their great products, which I still love. And but there was some new stuff out, and when I saw Dan at one of the trade shows a while back, he showed us some new formulas there that I thought were very interesting, going more into the women's category here. And I said, yeah, let's do a show on that, because you guys came out with a couple of products there I thought were pretty cool. And I love the name. So I want to talk about this great product. It's called Peaceful Mama. And I know people... when I showed it to some other friends and staff and things, they were very excited about it. So what's going on with women in their stress? I know this Peaceful Mama sounds great. I think I sent a bottle down to my one of my daughters there, just had a baby and stuff. I thought, this would be a good idea. But what's going on with the stress these days with women? I mean, we're all under a lot of stress, right? But especially moms probably under a lot.
Yeah, the last few years has been, really difficult for everybody for, just thousands of different reasons. But, our stress levels just keep increasing, all the time. It's the stressors they're nonstop. They keep coming, and our ability to cope with those stressors seems to be decreasing for a lot of different reasons. And we are really, really excited to be able to offer Peaceful Mama as a stress support formula specifically for women. But what's key about our stress formula and our products is that this stress formula is safe for women in all stages of motherhood. Mm-hmm. And that includes women who are attempting to conceive. We know that chronic stress makes it really difficult for some women to conceive. Peaceful Mama is safe for women to use during pregnancy, safe to use while nursing, and then it's safe for every stage of motherhood in between, whether you're the mom of a newborn or the mom of teenagers like myself. And let me tell you, if you're a mom of teenagers, you really need some stress support, or even
yeah. Or a big hammer or something.
Yeah. So, and the truth of it is that, women are affected by stress very differently than men are. We're actually more highly affected by high levels of stress than men are. And it manifests in us differently. So we wanted to offer a formula that was going to address those symptoms of stress that are really specific to women and different in women compared to men.
So is this something that someone would take before pregnancy, did you say at all? Or is it just during that time? Or I don't see why it wouldn't help even before if you're planning on a family, right?
Oh, yeah. It will help, whether you're pregnant or not. I mean, it will help, women in all stages of their life. So this Peaceful Mama can be used daily by all women. We were just really focused on offering a stress formula that was safe for pregnant and nursing mothers because, up until now in the natural space and even in the conventional space, there's been little to nothing that we've been able to offer to pregnant or nursing moms and say with confidence, this is safe. You can take this and it can help you, manage and cope with all the stress. Being pregnant is stressful itself. And, women, when we're pregnant, it's 24/7. Obviously, it's with you all the time, but you're constantly thinking about it. Should I have eaten that?
Right.
Should I be laying on my right side this long? Did I feel baby move enough today?
Right.
And that type of stress, and in addition to all of the other psychosocial stresses that we have, money, work, life, all of those stresses can have negative pregnancy outcomes and negative effects on nursing. So it's a vulnerable group that has little support. And we really worked hard to bring something to those women so that they can just be in the moment of their pregnancy and embrace the magic that's happening during that time.
Wow. Yeah, it's funny. When you have a baby or when you're pregnant or something, you're so careful, but the rest of the time can be great. I mean, I guess I always feel like I'm pregnant because I'm always careful about what I'm eating and worry about certain foods. I know that's a little disease in itself there. Sometimes I have to say, let yourself go. You're at a party, have a good time kind of a thing. But right. You're right. It's 24/7 when you have a baby inside. You're so much more diligent about what you do and more conscious of what you do. It's amazing. So let's talk a little bit about some of the ingredients in there. And I thought that was interesting. Lactium, it seems to be a trademarked ingredient, but I'm not familiar too much with it.
Yeah, Lactium is it's a really innovative it's a really cool ingredient. Its common name, so like the common name for Lactium is alpha casozepine.
Oh, that's very common. Yeah.
Yeah, very common. Everybody knows that term. Yeah. So it's a bioactive peptide. So a peptide is just a short chain of amino acids.
Right.
Lactium happens to be a chain of 10 amino acids. and it's isolated from milk. So about 30 years ago, a group of French researchers wanted to find out why babies were so peaceful and calm after they were done nursing or, bottle feeding.
Right.
When my kids were babies, I called it, milk drunk, because they would just nurse and be conked out. So it's like, I want to feel that way. How do I feel that way?
Right.
So,
go ahead.
yeah, so they discovered that the babies were making a soothing substance from the milk in their own digestive tracts. So babies have high amounts of trypsin because their sole diet is milk, and that trypsin helps them digest the milk. In that digestive process, they create alpha-casozepine in their tummies. And it is that bioactive peptide, the lactium, that gives them that milk drunk feeling, and it reduces stress and anxiety. And they've been able to take that process, recreate it, outside of the body, isolate that peptide, and we've been able to offer it to women in our Peaceful Mama product.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I wonder if there's a lot of baby probiotics on the market. I was wondering if that might be in one of them. I've never noticed that or never looked for that at all. But that'd be interesting to see that.
Yeah, this, and I'm not familiar with, there are so many probiotic formulas out there.
Right.
But I can say, lactium is newer to us in the United States, but it's not a new ingredient per se.
Gotcha.
They've been using lactium in the European Union for almost 2 decades. And they've been using it safely over there in, food products as a food ingredient. So this ingredient has a good amount of clinical research, human clinical research, to show that it reduces stress, that it helps with sleep quality. Those are 2 big things for any mom or, any woman, any person, to be able to cope with stress and sleep better. Anything that's going to help those 2 things is really going to help improve people's quality of life. And in those human clinical trials, that's on lactium, that's what we see. We see reduced stress-related symptoms that, things like, irritability, mood swings, but also symptoms that are really specific to women, like digestive stress-related symptoms. And I think, if we look at IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, most of the people that struggle with that are women. And that is a digestive condition that is heavily tied to stress and anxiety. So lactium can help with those symptoms. It can, and like I said, help with improving sleep quality, length of time of sleep, the, feeling rested upon waking the next day. Sleep is huge. Sleep issues are such a problem right now for a lot of people.
That's true. I've seen it more in this last couple of years with everything that went on with the pandemic there and everything. That sleep is such a big issue with people. More than in all the years I've been involved. It's amazing. I also noticed that you put some B vitamins in there, and I think a lot of people who listen to the show know that B vitamins are good for stress in general. So you put it in the coenzymated form, which I like. So that's a great idea for people who are stressed out to take as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we at Red, we like to do formulas. We create formulas because we know that nothing is about one thing. Like there's no silver bullet for anything. We require a myriad of nutrients in every body system. And especially when it comes to the stress response and neurotransmitter balance, those are complex systems. And so we know from research that supplementation with certain B vitamins are very beneficial in stressed populations. So we include some B12 and B6 to specifically support those neurotransmitter systems like the serotonin system, the norepinephrine system, and the GABA system. And we also include some niacinamide in there specifically to stimulate the GABA A receptor, because that's where Lactium does all of its work. It interacts with the GABA A receptor, and then by using niacinamide, we're kind of unlocking the door to that receptor to make it a little easier for Lactium to step in and start doing its work to reduce stress and to balance cortisol levels and help with GABA production.
Yeah, that GABA is really important, folks out there. People who have some anxiety and stress and they can't focus, that GABA receptors. A lot of the drugs that people take to go to those GABA receptors. So it's a natural way of doing it, right?
Yep, it's a natural way of doing it, and it is a much more gentle way of supporting, the action of the GABA A receptor. When we talk about, pharmaceuticals that are used that interact with the GABA A receptors, like benzodiazepines, they're like super glue to those receptors. And that's why individuals can experience things like memory loss or other side effects due to those drugs, because it interacts so tightly and strongly with that GABA A receptor, where Lactium is far more gentle in the way that it works. Like, instead of it being super glue, it's kind of like Velcro, where you can pull it off anytime that you want to. And that's why Lactium has no adverse events. There are no side effects reported in the clinical trials. We don't see the same issues with, the pharmaceuticals that interact with that receptor. So this is just a much safer and absolutely more natural way to balance that GABA A receptor instead of just, holding the door open for long periods of time. Gotcha.
Right. And you had a couple of herbs in there too, lemon balm and ginger root. And lemon balm, awesome. I like to use that myself when I'm competing in something. I do some sport things that I compete in, and I get a little anxious, and the lemon balm is great for that. It's also known as Melissa is another name for it. And ginger root, I guess that's for digestion. But how about those two herbs?
Yeah, the lemon balm is great for, tenseness and irritability. And it's also great for those stress-related digestive issues that can erupt. And when we were looking at different botanicals and choosing which botanicals we were going to use in Peaceful Mama, it was really important that we chose botanicals that were in the A class of safety designation. Herbs and botanicals that are in that safety A class, there's no concern for contraindications and things like that. We also wanted to choose botanicals that had really strong historical use in women and during certain periods of or life stages in women's lives, like pregnancy and nursing. And lemon balm is one of those botanicals. It's calming without being sedative. So it's not like, you're going to walk around like a zombie. That's not how it works. It's more, balancing and tonic-like in the way that it works. And we also know that lemon balm is commonly used in Europe to treat digestive issues in infants, like colic. So it's a very safe botanical. And on the flip side to that, ginger root, you and I know ginger root's been used for over 5,000 years in Eastern systems of medicine for, digestive issues, morning sickness, so vomiting, nausea. And so it's got a great safety profile and a great efficacy for digestive health.
Yeah. I know people use ginger when they go on boat trips instead of some of the prescription stuff out there to help soothe that that feeling of nausea and vomiting, which I guess, a lot of women have during pregnancy and things like that. So it's a great idea to put that in there. That's all. It's also an anti-inflammatory too, as well. So it's a great herb. So all those ingredients, can someone, I'm assuming it's a one a day. Is that a right? Can you take it any time of day? And what if you're taking like a prenatal vitamin? Is it okay to add this to it?
Yeah. So this is absolutely safe to use prenatal vitamin during the formulation process. And with any of our products, we assume that everyone is taking a good multi. Now, and what I mean by a good multivitamin is something that you're going to get from the health food store. I'm not talking about Centrum or things like that. I'm talking about, well-rounded, well-balanced multis. So we formulate in addition to that. So we are still well within safety ranges on the B vitamins. We're not giving mega doses of botanicals. So this is balanced to be used with a prenatal or any other women's multivitamin. And it is just one capsule per day. Just one capsule a day is all you need to get those benefits for stress management, emotional control, and better sleep. So the way that I would, recommend that people use Peaceful Mama, if you're using Peaceful Mama for stress and stress-related issues, take it in the morning. Take it with your breakfast, and it will get you through the day. If you're using it for sleep issues, I would take it with dinner. And not that it's going to be sedative, but it's going to help you relax and feel calm so that you have an easier time falling asleep.
Sounds good. Sounds like something the whole family could use, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. And this isn't just for women. If there are some ladies out there that want to have some peaceful dads in the house too, give it to them. They can take it too.
All right. Get them off the couch and back into the bedroom there. That's awesome. Right. I love it. All right. And folks, remember our sponsor, HollyHillVitamins.com, and you can order these products. It's a great company, and they guarantee their results and things. Excellent. And it's such a beautiful packaging too. I mean, people just look at it. It's just really cool. It reminds me of, I don't know, something back in the 60s, I think. I just love the way it's arranged on the thing. I guess I'm a label kind of guy.
Packaging is important.
It is. That's why I comb my hair every day. I tell you. I'm telling you. So your other product that came out around the same time is called Rhythm and Flow, which I thought was a singing group, but it's not. It's a kind of a hormonal balance product. So I thought this was pretty interesting too. So it has some ingredients which I love, which I've been giving to women for many, many years, but you guys put it all together into a nice little formula here. So how does Rhythm and Flow work there?
Yeah. So Rhythm and Flow is, as you said, it's for hormone balance. It's a product that women would take, daily, and it's specifically designed to help support, balanced and healthy menstrual cycles. So we're looking at, balancing those menstrual cycles with a focus on PMS-related issues. So the ingredients that we chose are, really targeted towards PMS and other, hormone imbalance-related issues that menstruating, women deal with. And this formula is a blend, again, of nutrients and botanicals. And for the nutrients, we focused on B6 and magnesium for a couple of different reasons. First of all, these two nutrients work extensively together in hundreds of different enzyme systems, including, neurotransmitter systems and whatnot. But research also shows that women who struggle with PMS tend to have lower levels of B6 and magnesium in their bloodstream compared to women who do not experience PMS. So We also know from studies that B6 and magnesium in combination or alone can help with a lot of those PMS-related symptoms, like nervousness, PMS-related water weight gain, or, some of the female-specific issues like breast tenderness or uterine cramps.
Mm-hmm.
B6 and magnesium can be really impactful and beneficial for those things. So we included those in the formula, for sure.
And a great herb which I gave to my daughters for years and years ago was chaste tree. Interesting history behind it as well, if I remember. I don't know if that was maybe you would know more since you an herbalist, but I heard chaste tree it got its name from. Well, you tell it. Do you know the story behind that?
Yeah, the monks would use chaste tree berry, and that's where its name came from, because the monks during that time in history, so we're talking, the Middle Ages, the medieval kind of period, the Benedictine monks would use chaste tree berry to, help maintain their vows that they had taken.
That's a nice way of saying it.
Yes. Trying to think of a way. That's the best way I can say it.
That's good. Yes, I think, hence the name chaste. Yes, I understand that.
Yeah. So, but, historically in herbalism, particularly, in Europe, in Western herbalism, chaste tree berry has been used for centuries for a lot of different gynecological issues, including PMS, but also other issues that involve ovarian health and uterine health and breast health. So I love chaste tree berry because it can address a wide range of gynecological issues or issues with the female reproductive system.
Mm-hmm.
And it can do that because of how it works. So I think a lot of women, or just, in general, there's a misconception that PMS is due to an issue with a singular hormone. Like, oh, it's because I don't have enough progesterone, or it's because I have too much estrogen. And that's not really the issue. It isn't related to a deficiency of a single hormone. It's actually more related to the interaction of our ovarian hormones with neurotransmitters. So many of them. And that's where chaste tree berry comes in, because chaste tree has dramatic effects on the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, which is your master hormone system.
Right.
So it's normalizing the secretion of various hormones, to include estrogen, progesterone, but also prolactin, follicular stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone. So it's really helping to balance the system as a whole, as opposed to something like progesterone cream that's just targeting a single hormone.
Gotcha.
So
interesting.
Yeah, chaste tree berry is in the way that it works is more in line with the way that we build our formulas. We look to create balance in the entire body and create balance between all the systems. So we're not just going after symptomatic relief. We're really looking to help people restore balance throughout their entire body. And, not just one system. So chaste tree is great for that. And there is just a wealth of research on chaste tree berry extract. There is a, certain standardization or standardized extract at a particular dose, which is 225 milligrams.
Mm-hmm. That
Dose of that standardized extract has the most consistent results when you look at all the human clinical research. And when you take all that research together, a third of patients that participated in those studies had a complete resolution of their PMS symptoms. And then in addition to that, another 57% reported significant improvement over a wide range of PMS symptoms. So, I love Chase Tree Berry. There's one downside to Chase Tree Berry that I always just like to, make sure that people understand. And this probably goes with a lot of different botanicals and herbs, but these things take time. These aren't drugs. Like, we're not turning things off or replacing things or putting hormones into our bodies. We're using plants to create balance. Chase Tree Berry takes a few cycles to really reach its full potential, to create that balance within that hormone system. So knowing that, that's why we added the other botanicals that don't take as long to work. So a woman's going to feel some benefit while the Chase Tree is doing its work to balance out, that hormone system.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I've been preaching that for so many years. These are not aspirins. They don't work. Take the headache away in a minute. Some herbs do take a while, some up to months of using to see some benefits, and people have to stick with it. It just doesn't work like a drug does, and people are so used to that. It's so hard for them to understand that. So I'm really glad you mentioned that. Folks, also another name for Chase Tree is Vitex. That's more the Latin name, and so sometimes people are familiar with the term Vitex. But I gave this to my daughters when they were going through that stage there, and it's really good for teenage acne as well there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's our Rhythm and Flow formula can be used by, younger teenage girls who are kind of just starting to enter that stage of life, and then all throughout a woman's lifetime. So, there are over 150 reported symptoms of PMS, and it's different for every woman. Yeah. But we really wanted to make sure that we were focused on a lot of the common symptoms, or the PMS symptoms that, really have a way of decreasing a woman's confidence. Along with the Chase Tree Berry, we also add cleavers to help with skin and skin health.
Yeah, that's an old timer formula. You don't see cleavers much anymore.
No, you don't, but it's one of my favorites. It is an oldie, but it's a goodie. I love cleavers for lymphatic function, to help with detoxification pathways, and cleavers is great for all kinds of different, skin issues that can occur, like acne. Combined with the Chase Tree Berry, we are able to hit some of those other PMS symptoms, because it's not just cramps. I think, it's the first thing that people think of. Oh, I have terrible cramps. But, there are women who have struggled with sleep disturbances or backaches and leg pain, migraines and headaches. And we wanted to address as many of those symptoms as we could. Right. So that's why we have, like the cleavers, like I mentioned. We have the Dong Quai in our formula, which is, it's a very common botanical used in traditional Chinese medicine. So they use it to harmonize the female reproductive system. But what it's doing is it is making sure that circulation is healthy, that blood is flowing to the core so that those female reproductive organs are being nourished. And Dong Quai also relaxes smooth muscle tissue. So it can help with muscle pain. It can help with those uterine cramps that people experience, or the backaches that people get during, the luteal phase of their cycles.
Awesome. Yeah. Folks, you can go to Red Remedies. That's REDD, redremedies.com for a lot more information there. And I'm sure this is up on their website and things. It's just great formulas. They do a great job. They're a formula-based company, which I like. And everything is done with third-party testing. A lot of the formulas are gluten-free and vegetarian, and they're all master herbalist formulated. And we have one of them right on the phone here with us. So it's really good formula. So I hope you enjoy it. I sent one down to my daughter there. So I It's Jim's approval stamp there. There you go. So it's been great. Also, remember hollyhillvitamins.com, but maybe use a code word maybe to help people get a little break on the price of these. So we're going to use the word mama, I think. That'll be a nice little code word to use there to check out those products on our website as well. All right. Stacey, you've been great. It's been a good time with you, and I appreciate it. And we'll do it again. There's always new items coming out from you guys, and I like the public to know about it because you guys do it the right way. And the owner I know well, and he's such a passionate guy. He's such a caring person that it's nice to have head of a company like that. And you sound just as good as a caring person who really want to help people. So I appreciate you being on.
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about our products and, talk about the ingredients we're using. And yeah, we want to help people live the best lives that they can and reduce, and alleviate suffering in any way that we can with our products.
Yeah, you can tell. Thanks again, Stacey. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, guys, that's it. Please subscribe to the channel so you can get our latest episodes. And if you want to contact me with any questions or comments, try jimwilkcnc@gmail.com. Thanks again.